Well, this is Guns, Knives, Watches, and I'm gonna tell you, this is a very hard review for me to do. This is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 long rifle. Of course, originally when I reviewed it more than 2 years ago, that was just a sample copy or a sample, and I now have my own version years later. Why I don't ever keep those first of any gun is because I've had problems with it, and the reason this video is hard is not because of this particular gun, but because of a Walther PPQ. Now, why does Walther and Smith & Wesson have anything to do with each other, and why would that make this difficult? Well, I had a PPQ 1 of 1,000, and it was like a monkey had worked on it and put it together, and Walther honestly refused to send the parts to fix it. So needless to say, I got rid of it. I lost quite a bit of money on that deal, and I think for $800 for a Walther PPQ, a limited edition 1 of 1,000, I think they should have done a better job, but they did what they did. Comes with a couple Allen wrenches, of course a lock, which is standard stuff, manuals, and then your test fired round, if that's required in your jurisdiction. Now, what do we have here? We have an M&P 22, a wrench, and a magazine. Now, this gun only comes with one magazine, and I'll show you what the wrench is for. Of course, most people are going to already know a little bit about this, because this actual gun is made, let's see if I can get it to focus on it, is made by Karl Walther in Germany. So this is a Walther P22 on steroids. Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of the engineering and a lot of the fabrication of the thing mimics that gun. Now, of course, it's been upscaled. There have been quite a few things changed, but still, in the end of the day, a spade's a spade. A gun from Walther is typically a gun from Walther. Now, this isn't a go-to-war gun. This isn't a lot of different things, but what is it? It's a fun gun to shoot. And now it is, I would call it a toy, but people would seem that I'm taking in a derogatory stance. No, it's just a fun gun to go out and shoot, this, that, or the other. For different agencies that use the P22 to take out lights and things, this would be a much, 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 much better option. And the reason they have those Walther P22s is because, of course, agency contracts, this, that, or the other. But let's start going through the gun. Now, this basically mimics, of course, the larger Walthers. Of course, it's got a bunch of white writing on it, which I'm not a big fan of. It mimics the larger Walthers. It mimics the larger Smith & Wessons. I'll pull a Smith & Wesson in here as a comparison. Of course, this Smith & Wesson model I don't believe is made. At least it wasn't made when I got this one, and this was a few years ago. Long time, actually. This is a M&P 45 and threaded barrel. Trijicon sights, and the most important, the reason I pulled this one out instead of another M&P is because it has a safety on it. SOCOM actually, when they were mandating, the contract for this particular style of weapon, they mandated that it had a safety. Now, a lot of different states in the United States mandate that it has to have a safety also. And this gun is not striker fired, it's hammer fired. The original M&P, of course, is striker fired, but this is actually a hammer fired gun in disguise. Now, the ability to upscale the actual frame and the slide and everything gave them the ability to hide that. Let's set this big behemoth out of here, and let's go basically through this one. Now, this M&P, as you saw, very, very similar to the full-size M&Ps. or the 9mm 40 caliber M&Ps. Of course, it's a little smaller than the 45. You would expect that, but it is a full-size gun. Don't think that I'm saying it's not a full-size gun. It is a full-size gun. It's just not full caliber. Now, which is why Walther made it for Smith & Wesson. They have a little more experience at that. Of course, it has the pick rail. It has everything else. Ambi. I'm sure the mag release is ambi. You can flip it over. Safety on the trigger. You have the other safety there, which is just flip up. And you have ambi. Slide releases. And then you've got your lever here for takedown. And the lever here for takedown, you're going to notice, once you rotate that, the actual spring that activates that is actually your main recoil spring. Actually operates the camming action. Now I'm going to pull this up here. My hands might be obscuring that, but that's just because I want to not just start wrenching on it. You pull that lever up. Okay. Magazine's out of it. Pull the slide back. Up. Same as you do on a Walther P22. Now, it's got a metal guide rod. There's your camming action and how everything goes in there. This is actually what allows the what actually operates the whole takedown and everything. When you rotate that lever, it actually pushes everything forward. You push it in, it pushes it forward, sorry. Like I said, this is a very hard review for me to do. You can see from the barrel construction, it is very similar to the Walther P22. It has the same type of nut here on the end where you place your wrench, and of course that comes unscrewed. And it takes the same thread adapter that the Walther does. So if you have a thread adapter for a Walther, it's the same thing. Now I'm going to pull the one magazine over here with that because that's kind of going to be a point later on down the road. As you can see, the hammer there. Now of course this gun has a magazine disconnect, so I cannot pull the trigger right now and raise the hammer. Of course, safeties, ejector, da 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 da. Now one thing that you do not see are the trigger bars. Now this only has a trigger bar on one side. You can see it right there moving. There's not one on the other side, and it does not have those ears. Well, what would happen on the Walther P22, those ears would come up and really rub on the slide. And while we're talking about the slide is a lot beefier. They did their rounds and everything really well. Your fillets and your rounds. It has, of course, a steel portion there that's actually inset into it. And, of course, has a loaded chamber indicator where you can just look there and see your casing. Another thing that I really liked about it is the adjustable rear sight. I like the fact that it actually has a dovetailed front sight. So, all in all, you know, it's a much improved gun over the Walther. Like I said, you know, you can just take this nut off here, and I'm just going to loosen it up right now so that we can reassemble it. But basically place it back in there. Your whole recoil assembly. It will slide all the way back. Put your spring in your front, the cup of your slide. Go all the way back, down, forward. Now, of course, go in, and as you go in, see that action? If you're going to ever have a problem with reassembly, it's going to be right there. And that cup that was on the guide rod, but I didn't get into that, but we'll deal with that here in a minute. Or you can just kind of imagine it's cupped on one side and actually flat on the other. So you just basically take into your barrel off, same as you do your Walther P22, and Screw your thread adapter on there, and now we have a threaded gun, which that was one of the faults of the Ruger, you know, the SR22. It was not threaded. Now the SR22 comes with its thread adapter and comes with 2 magazines. The Walther is only about $25 more than the Ruger SR22 at my local gun shop, Sherwood Guns. But the problem is the fact that it only comes with 1 magazine and does not come with a thread protector nor adapter. Now I got this thread adapter, a Ghost half 28 from Tactical Innovations, which is a great place. They've got a lot of different adapters for, you know, whatever you shoot. I use them for a lot of different, use them as a resource for a lot of different things. So you have your full size, ability to be threaded, and 1 magazine. Now once you buy another magazine and you buy that thread adapter, you're at about $75 more. Now, is the difference of this gun in the same exact configuration as the Ruger worth the $75? To be honest, it just depends on what you're using the gun for. Smaller members of my family, of course, really prefer the Ruger. And I'm not going to argue with them. They really like this one because it is threaded and you can put a suppressor on it. I like the fact that it comes with 2 magazines. And remember, this is a work in progress. All weapons are works in progress. So, does it make that much of a difference? No. But when you're using this weapon as a training weapon for that weapon, then there's really no question. I mean, if you're going to shoot a 22, if you want a 22 pistol to shoot and you want something that's going to be similar to your full size, of course, by all means, get it. Now, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and that's probably the best review I'm going to be able to do. So I wish you all a great night and a good morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And this is the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Review 2 on the new Guns, Knives, Watches channel.